Welcome to the Firepreneurs Podcast. I'm your host, Jeff McDowell Jr.
And I'm Bennett Grove.
Between us, we have 20 years of firefighting experience.
And over 15 years of experience building, growing, and leading small businesses.
Each episode, we get after it by discussing leadership, life, and development.
We'll also unpack the wins and losses that we've experienced along the way.
You ready, big dog?
I'm ready, my man.
Let's get it.
Welcome to another episode of the Firepreneurs Podcast. Do not have a guest today, but in between guests, I wanted to share a story. I was at church recently on Sunday and heard a story about Chris Nikic and how it pertained to perseverance and not giving up. And so the sermon was really good, and so I went and did some research thereafter, because on Mondays in my own company, I do what I call Monday Message, and we tell stories about inspirational people who have done amazing things. We also take those opportunities just to relate to one another about life and challenges, obstacles we overcome, but then, more importantly, just, talk about, how we can be leaders in each other's lives. And so that's what we do here at Fire Dogs in Indianapolis, our Indianapolis location. Each location, the leaders there do something similar, but I do the Monday Message here in Indy. And so I wanted to talk about Chris Nikic because it had such a profound impact on me when I heard the story, that I wanted to communicate it to my team. And then after I communicated that to my team, I had multiple people come up to me throughout the week and just say, how impactful that hearing that story was. And then they did the same thing. They went and watched the speech and read up on Chris. And so who is Chris Nikic? If you don't know, Chris is the first person ever to complete an Ironman who had Down syndrome. The Ironman, if you don't know what that race is, it's a grueling physical challenge where you have to do a 2.4-mile swim, a 112-mile bicycle ride, and a 26.2-mile run, which is a marathon, in that order. And there's typically a time requirement, and in his race, you had to do it in under 17 hours, which Chris did. And he became the first person with Down syndrome to ever complete an Ironman, which is amazing. In and of itself is just amazing. However, Chris, the kind of person who can do that, is got some resolve. And so it's no surprise that Chris won the Jimmy V Award at the ESPYS for perseverance. And in his speech, he said some things that were just super profound. And so I want to share a few of those with you, and hopefully anybody out there listening right now who is, in the grind, facing some of those challenges in business or in life, and, your feet are hurting and you don't want to take another step, right? It's not that your feet are going to stop hurting when you stop walking, right? It's just that they're going to hurt less when you stop, but you can always take another step. And so along that same lines, I want to share what Chris said in his acceptance speech, because, for anybody who's an entrepreneur, it's hard. It's a tough life. Now, when you're a firepreneur and you're balancing a 24/48, you've got a wife and kid at home, or you just got a significant other at home, and you got those challenges that come up with life. And then on top of that, you're a firepreneur. And so you're trying to be an entrepreneur while also being a full-time firefighter, getting woke up in the middle of the night, getting no sleep, going home and dealing with the family, trying to show up and be a good dad, a good husband, good wife, whatever the case may be. And then you've got to go and, put out fires in the business. That grind can be super challenging and tough. And it's something that a lot of people don't ever talk about. However, we want our podcast to be a support mechanism for those firepreneurs out there, as well as entrepreneurs. And so stories like this, I know for me, I listen to podcasts, a wide array of them, and I always draw from these stories. It's not motivation to do something that I'm not already doing. It's more that I like to hear different perspectives on how I can be better myself. And Chris Nikic delivers the goods on this one. So I'm going to give you guys his speech and then let you kind of dwell on it. So Chris at the ESPYS, we have a link to this, by the way. At the end of the episode, we will share the link to his ESPYS speech. And so you can watch it for yourself. If you're watching this on our YouTube channel, you can click the link at the end of the episode. And then in the podcast, we'll share it in the notes. So Here's Chris. He says, goes up to the mic, does a little dance, shows the love Tim Tebow, who announces him, and then he says, "I am an Ironman, Adidas athlete, public speaker, author, and as you can see, ladies, I am adorable, single, and available."
Have to be.
Just like I laughed. I mean, that's what the whole audience did. It was awesome. So then he says, "People ask, how did I overcome so many obstacles?" He continued, "Easy. I just got 1% better every day. 3 years ago, I was 18, overweight, out of shape, excluded, and isolated. But my dream was to be like you, to be included, to be independent, and to marry an amazing woman like my mom." His the three things that he cites that helped him get to where he was, the Jimmy V Award at the ESPYS, completing the Ironman. He says, 1, get 1% better every day. 2, I work hard. 3, as Jimmy V said, don't give up. Don't ever give up. He then goes on to say, it's easy to make excuses and quit. I don't do excuses and I don't quit. Because my dream is bigger than my pain. Wow. I mean, 21 years old. There's so much to unpack there. So many different ways you can go with this story. But, this podcast, why I chose to do this podcast was because I know that there's all these stories out there like Chris's. And I know the struggle of being a firepreneur, being an entrepreneur, being a husband, a father, just trying to do the best you can, sometimes not knowing if you're doing a good job, and so there's so much simple wisdom in this story from Chris. And if you can take one thing from his speech, which there's so many things to take from his speech, but if you could take one thing, get 1% better every day. We can all strive for that. You don't have to be perfect, and you beat yourselves up sometimes as a firepreneur, as an entrepreneur, as just going through life. We beat ourselves up. But if we can all wake up and think about how we can get 1% better every day, then we can wake up and attack that thing. Like, today I'm going to get 1% better at this. Today I'm going to be 1% better at doing my job. Today I'm going to be 1% better at being a leader. Today I'm going to be 1% better at being a listener to what my team needs from me. Today I'm going to get 1% better at bench press, air squats. I'm going to get 1% better at the Murph, right? Or I'm going to get 1% better on my marathon time because I'm competing in an Ironman, right? You can apply it to anything. But the one thing all of us can take from this is if we have the mindset like Chris to just get 1% better every day, you're really on a path towards making your own dreams come true. And he says it so well. I don't do excuses and I don't quit because my dream is bigger than my pain. Man, it's just good stuff. Something else at church, I can't remember what the theme of the sermon was, but our pastor was talking about complaining and how negative complaints, when your mind is exposed to negative complaints for like longer than like 20 to 30 minutes, it has actually like a physical impact on you. And so I also did another Monday message in our company not too long ago, and we talked about bad breath, having bad breath. And so in our company, we call bad breath complaining without providing solutions, where we just sit there and complain about the way something is or how we can't do something because. And when we do that and we start to go on a tangent of complaining, we call it bad breath. And it's human. Everybody's had bad breath. Okay. I mean, you've probably had it just like for real. You probably had some bad breath sometimes. But like in general with this theme and this metaphor, we've all been there and done the complaining without providing the solutions. And that's the bad breath. But when you hear a story like Chris Nikic's, it puts things in perspective that, that bad breath, that complaining about why we can't do something or the way things are, well, could it be better if you got 1% better every day? So I encourage you to go and watch the acceptance speech on ESPN.com from the ESPYS, where Chris accepts the award for the Jimmy V Award for Perseverance. And I encourage you to do that. If you're on our YouTube channel, again, we're going to have a link for you to click. And if you're in our podcast, go to our podcast notes. We'll have a link to the acceptance speech there as well. So that's it. Short episode today. In between guests, we have some exciting guests coming on in the next few weeks. But I at least wanted to share a little motivation, a little inspiration, story that hopefully connects with you and helps get you through one of those mental blocks that we sometimes have to overcome as firepreneurs.
Thanks for joining Firepreneurs today. We hope that we delivered value in your leadership journey. We humbly ask that you take the time to leave us a 5-star review, as that's how our podcast will rise in rankings and become available to more people. We'd love to hear from you, so you can email us by emailing firepreneurs@gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or by watching us on our Firepreneurs YouTube channel. Stay hungry and get after it.